Brilliant. Okay, right, we're just coming on now for our fourth session of the day. Just give it a couple of seconds just so people can filter in. Hope you've all enjoyed the session so far. Halfway through. Just coming in now. It's going to be quite an interesting debate, actually, especially with all the latest changes. And I'm joined by some fantastic panelists for this session, so it should be good. I'll just give a couple more seconds. Okay, all right, I'm going to get started with the introductions for now, just while we get the last few people just coming in. Okay, so welcome back and hello to those who have just joined today. Live events obviously at the moment have been put on hold for the time being, and we are providing right here and right now that there are still opportunities to connect virtually. Okay, so we're going to look today with our team panelists at options on how we can actually bring back live events moving forward, and also for virtual options currently at the moment. So I'm joined firstly by Martin Fullard, who is the editorial director of Conference News magazine. Hi, Martin. Nice to meet you. And I've got Josh King.
Morning.
Josh King. Hi, Martin. I'm also joined by Josh King, who is Head of Business Development at Event Management Specialist EMC3. Hi, Josh.
Hiya.
And lastly, I've got lovely Nikki Brown, who is the Director and Fellow Event Management Specialist at Arctic Fox Limited. So,
hello.
Welcome to our panelists. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to come to all of you first of all with this question. When do you think we will be starting and hosting live events again? Let's start with you, Nikki.
Well, I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I wish I had a crystal ball, and I'm sure Josh and Martin feel the same. We predominantly book venues for our clients, so we are having lots of this question asked to us in case we have some inside knowledge. I'd love to say Q1 of next year. We've got clients who are booking venues currently for Q1 with the desire to be doing the face-to-face live events then. Realistically, will it be then? Will it be Q2 and kind of pushing into the summer? I'm not sure. I mean, Martin may have some better insight from, you know, his various sources on that one. But I'd love to say it will be the beginning of next year. I think with the recent updates, our clients certainly have come to terms with the fact that it probably won't be this side of Christmas, this side of the new year, and they're very much planning for Q1 and spring to be when they kind of leap back into action and get into those venues in person.
Thank you, Nikki. Martin, I mean, obviously you've been doing a lot of rallying at the moment with the campaign yesterday. When do you think we'll be hosting live events, or what's your thoughts on it?
Well, let's be clear. Right now, events for up to 30 can happen, but you know, the issue is confidence, and you know, who wants to really be attached to, you know, to that level of risk right now. But events for 30, as the government guidelines dictate, can happen. So you know, we are sort of back in that very small way, but you know, the confidence matter is a different matter entirely. Obviously, we were all kind of hanging our hat on the 1st of October as the main restart date. And obviously last week or the week before, time doesn't exist anymore. We obviously received the news that that's all been pushed back by 6 months, which takes us to March 2021. Ironically, it would be a year to the day since we entered lockdown. However, I do have, funnily enough, someone mentions, you know, anonymous sources. I have heard that actually a DCMS official, and I cannot say where this has come from, and I won't, but a DCMS official has mentioned to a venue of repute somewhere in central London that 6 months is worst case. And in actual fact, we may even be back before Christmas. Take that with a pinch of salt. These things are sometimes just put out there, but never say never. The problem we face is without an arbitrary start date, which is very difficult to put in place now, event buyers are reluctant to commit because they don't know. We get to March, and then what happens if there's another delay? They're exposed to a lot of loss of revenues and loss of earnings. And of course, add to that the fact that events don't just happen, as you all know. It takes months of planning. So if, you know, we get a confirmation date in mid-March that we're going live on the 1st of April, So what? We might need 3 months to get those big events planned and executed. Addressing corporate and consumer confidence is the bigger challenge. So it's a very difficult one to nail down.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'd love 6 months. I just want to get back to live events. I really do. Josh, have you got anything to add? I mean, have you got any clients that are maybe looking for earlier?
So I totally agree with
Josh.
everyone said.
Josh, sorry, a little bit crackly there.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying. I totally agree with what everyone said. Is that there's a real, there's a real sense of ambiguity in what's been shared by the government so far, and to my understanding, based on the government guidelines, you actually can host events of more than 30 people if they're outdoors, if you've undergone the correct thorough risk assessments as well. So there's some interesting bits on the government website about that as well for outdoor events. But I think the points that Martin raised are totally right. And at the moment, for us particularly, we run a lot of large conferences, trade shows, exhibitions, and sales kickoffs. And we're working with a lot of our partners now who were targeting sort of a January kickoff, February kickoff, and that they all want to transition to virtual. And that's simply because it's that attendee confidence, and building up, the consumer confidence or attendee confidence is the biggest challenge that we're facing. Things could, of course, accelerate, and we could come back sooner if there was to be a vaccine, or if there's mass testing as well. So there's Abbott's 15-minute test, which is starting to become available as well, and it is supposedly very, very accurate as to whether people have the antibodies. I think, from a pessimistic point of view, I would say Q3, Q4 for those bigger sort of conferences, trade shows, exhibitions. Optimistic, hopefully sooner, but I'm slightly more pessimistic.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Nikki, I know you touched on it slightly earlier. Have any of your clients actually planned events for 2021?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we predominantly book venues for our clients. That's our kind of core business on the venue finding side. And we've moved a lot of venue bookings, obviously, as I'm sure everybody has, from 2020 to 2021, and then looked at kind of, virtual to keep those clients, happy in between times. But I mean, last week, a client signed a contract for an event in March. So it's really, as both Josh and Martin said, it's a slightly unknown entity, and the rule of 30 and the client's confidence in that, it plays a really big part. We are booking venues for 2021. The calendar, I think, for a lot of venues is really full because they're seeing so many clients moving, their event across, and, as Josh said, starting in Q1 and then perhaps moving it down to, Q2 or Q3. I think the client confidence, as Martin said, is a big thing in people's decision making about booking those venues and booking those events in their diary and in the diary of their audience. We've got clients saying to us, we don't want to be the first in our particular industry to do it and for it to not go well. And I think that's a really big thing to think about, is it's not just anymore about hosting your event and how successful that's going to be. It's also about is it going to be damaging to you as a company or within the industry if you are the first to step your foot outside of doing virtual and to do anything live, and for it not to go well. So whilst we are making bookings and we've got clients who are who are still actively looking to book live events, the confidence issue is a big one, and the fact that as Martin said, the goalposts keep getting changed. We were all working to 1st of October, and then that's been moved. Pre-Christmas would be amazing, but again, it's people dipping their toe. I will say that the client who made the booking for March last week, when we site visited a couple of weeks previous to that, they very much are looking at this event working with social distancing, and doing this in a way that obviously is the most COVID friendly. So I think that people are changing the way that they look at their events in a live capacity. You know, they're not just saying this is going to be virtual, this is going to be hybrid. Even when it becomes a live event, that booking is now being looked at with how can we make this as risk assessment friendly, you know, and tick the boxes to ensure we're doing everything we can to make it a safe environment for our attendees.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. I mean, Martin, are you guys looking to plan any live events for 2021? If so, when? I mean, I know you've got the PA show, haven't you? And
well, yeah, Mash Media obviously organises the PA show, but of course International Confex and the event production show as well, on top of all of our awards. I mean, look at the Exhibition News Awards, which has been pushed back again, and they're pushed back for a simple reason, because they have to happen live. To happen online, and there's nothing against, you know, online events as a discipline, but the events are designed to be live. They are designed to bring communities together, and that's the important thing here. You know, live events, you know, you get some journalists, you know, call them corporate jamborees and other such nonsense, but let's be honest, there is no substitute for live. So the shows were scheduled for March. Whether those dates remain depends on many factors. The preference would always be to move them to cater for a live audience rather than just accept something that is perhaps substandard. So yeah, that's the sort of plans that we have. We can complement, you know, we can do these sorts of hybrid things and that sort of stuff. But when it comes to getting people back in, there is no substitute. Confex matters. It's a big event. The PA show matters. Big event. EPS. It's true. People come because they want to expand their networks. They want to meet new people, grow their businesses, discover new opportunities. And that just cannot be replicated to the same meaningful level online. So yeah, move. Of course, what I will add is obviously you need that flexibility with all your partners and stakeholders, such as your venue as well. And luckily with Excel, we have a really strong partner there.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you, Martin. We have already touched on this next question briefly, so I'm going to come to Josh quickly as well on this one. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenges for live events? I know we've already mentioned about nervous attending, managing COVID, and secure practices at venues, but what do you feel would be the most important?
Well, I think one of the only things that we've not touched upon is going to be the emergence of the necessity for COVID compliance officers on site. So to really build up that attendee confidence, you know, the way that venues are run, how, of course, capacities, things like that are going to change. But you know, having event planners and agencies, everyone trained on COVID compliance and how to be COVID secure, that's going to be essential. So we're working with a brilliant health and safety company called Dependable Forces. So they provide health and safety training for venues and events agencies, and it's really sort of transformed the way that we're approaching our event planning, and particularly, you know, the guidelines are constantly changing. So make sure that you are aligning yourselves with people that are really immersed in the health and safety side of things, and that way, you know, together we'll be able to build up you know, that consumer or attendee confidence again.
Brilliant. Thank you, Josh. Nikki, same question to you. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenges for live events when they do return?
I think, as you said, Charlotte, I think the big, you know, we've sort of touched on the big things, which will be about confidence, which will be, you know, as Josh says, you know, making sure that, you know, it's a really safe environment. You know, as I mentioned, we've got clients who are, you know, who are wary about reputation in hosting, you know, live events for the first time. And I think it will be about everyone wanting to make that juggle between going out and going big as a live event because they're so excited to be there in person, and as you know, as Martin said, you know, have that human connection and, you know, the power of that of it being live versus, you know, do they do a stepping stone? Is it quality over quantity initially, so that the numbers can be managed, etc.? It's a really tricky one because obviously, you know, for those hosting large events, and that's what we're obviously, you know, talking about, large conferences, you know, exhibitions, awards dinners, etc. It's about that a mass audience because those events are applicable to a huge number of people, and that's why they're hosted. So I think it's the juggle for us. That's what we're getting fed back from clients, is that doing it right, doing it well, and making sure they can still achieve what they set out to achieve with it being a live event and not having to compromise on that.
Lovely, thank you, Nikki. So, excuse me. We do have a chat function. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the chat box and into the Q&A box, and I will come back to them at the end of the session. So yeah, please feel free to use that if you've got any questions while we go through. So I'm going to move on now. So when we've all become accustomed to attending events virtually, why should we start looking at hosting events again? What are the benefits over the virtual events with the live? I know, again, we've already sort of kind of covered that, but I'm going to come to you, Martin, on that one.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And this is I think, follow on for your previous question, what are the biggest challenges we face? And I think, yeah, you have two options as a person. Do you attend the event live or from the comfort of your spare bedroom or garage or wherever it is you're holed up? So you have to really incentivize the live experience. Why come? Could it be argued that maybe some organisers maybe have got lazy in the past and the event exists to be an event, but where's the real pull? This is going to force people to work not harder, but smarter to actually really make the event worth attending. The online, the hybrid element is going to be important because you want to be able to make yourself inclusive and expand your audience, and you want to give people the option to dip in and get involved and get them engaged. But the live experience still has to be put on that pedestal. It matters, and I think it's important to really push that point because it goes beyond just the event itself. Don't forget how important the events industry to the economy at large. I'm going up to Manchester after this session. And I believe that's important because that's me helping sustain, the Manchester economy in a very small way. That's the movement of people matters to different destinations. So there's that economic argument too. But you have to make the experience count. How many events have you gone to where you kind of just go to the hotel, go to the conference centre, come home again? Why can't you go and experience the destination as well? That's what we do. We create experiences. And that needs to be played up more, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Nikki, same question to yourself.
Yeah, I think Martin's hit the nail on the head there. It's making it that kind of experience. I think the human connection is so huge. That's such an important part. And I think obviously everybody's lives have changed dramatically in the last 6-7 months. It's about creating those shared experiences. I certainly think picking up on what Martin said about people making a real effort to make those live events really have an impact. I certainly think people have got very creative and have had to ensure that their events can continue, whether that's virtually or in a hybrid capacity. People have got very creative with how they're engaging their audience, what community they're creating, and creating that kind of buzz around what they're doing. So there will be some pressure on the live event and to ensure that people aren't sitting in the comfort of their home office or wherever to kind of get there, but I do think that human interaction, that networking face to face and the connection will be enough to kind of drive people back.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikki. I'm going to touch there slightly on virtual events, and I'm going to come to you, Josh, first on this one. We've all been attending the virtual events lately over the past few months and also hosting them as well. So whether it's webinars, meetings, conferences, I know there's been some awards as well. From a user perspective, what have been the biggest issues in terms of experience, in your opinion?
Well, I think look, it's a great question. So there's a lot of webinar white noise at the moment. So brands everywhere running webinars and virtual events. And I'm of the unpopular opinion that a bad webinar or virtual event can actually do more damage than good for a brand, firstly. I think a lot of people have been trying to directly replicate their live event in a virtual setting, and that's just totally the wrong approach. You have to adopt a digital first mindset and take things like Zoom fatigue into account. So you have to reimagine your session designs, your session lengths, and your agenda to make it more engaging and more concise and impactful. So that's one of the biggest things from a user perspective, is some people have just been directly trying to replicate the live experience, which is the totally wrong approach. And also a number of attendees aren't tech savvy. So I think as an industry by nature, we're incredibly and fiercely creative and imaginative. and a lot of the technology just isn't quite up to scratch yet. And the platforms have been evolving very, very quickly to try and catch up with that, but they're not quite there yet. So yeah, I think a lack of the platform's not quite being up to scratch. The majority of people that are planning events not having a great understanding of the technology that's readily available either, which of course impacts being able to deliver virtual events to a high standard. Yeah, so I think they're sort of the key areas, and then people trying to just directly replicate their live event in a virtual environment. So there's a number of nuances, and you stylistically, you need to try and transform the way that you're approaching your programs when you're delivering it in a digital setting. So yeah, there's a number of issues in terms of virtual at the moment, I think.
Brilliant, thank you, Josh. And same question to Martin. I bet you've spoken loads of these, haven't you?
Yeah, I must be well into the hundreds now since March. Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, naturally, we're talking about a change in skill set. Now, there are some, and arguably correctly, who say that, well, digital events, webinars, and so on is nothing new. You're right, they're not. But the larger proportion of event professionals haven't really had that much experience, and the ones I've spoken to all say the same thing. This is not what I signed up for. You know, they have signed up for the buzz of live. They love being, you know, in conference centres and at exhibition venues or wherever else with a clipboard, you know, and making sure the event is spot on, delivering an experience, a memorable experience. And this is the irony. Like I said, I've been on more than 100 of these, and, you know, with respect, I can't remember any of them after they've done, because it's me, my same laptop screen, and a very personal relationship with my webcam. But I can remember all the events I went to last year. Okay, maybe not the late night soiree ones, if you know what I mean, or the morning after, more accurately. But those are the experiences, and those are the things that I remember, the knowledge exchange I've received. So I'll go to a journalists conference and I now remember all of that. It's just not the same on here because I'm not having the experience. You know, the human mind is switched into action by senses of, you know, smell and sight. And I think it's the sense of smell that is the one that triggers, you know, memories. And, you know, this is what we're doing. We're going to events to learn, to be inspired. And that's what it sort of matters. I mean, with the awards one is the one that just, I don't think works online. It's hilarious. You see people sitting down at the screen like this, wearing a tuxedo and then maybe just wearing their pants. It's supposed to be a normal gala dinner where normally it would be grilled salmon fillets and you could be sitting here eating takeaway out of a little foil box. You know, it's just, that's not the experience. What we're living right now is functional, but it's not living.
No, I agree. I think we all sort of miss the after parties at the shows and the networking side of things. And that's where I normally meet most people. So yeah, I completely agree with you, Martin. So on the flip side of that, Josh, I'll come back to you again on this one. Have there been any digital events that you've attended that have impressed or inspired you in any way? Any sort of takeaways that you could incorporate into your own virtual events sort of moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So there was an event a few weeks back called Hulu Pride Fest, and they created an entirely bespoke virtual platform where you went on there and created your own avatar. And I think they really sort of pushed the boundaries of what you could do. You could donate to charity, and I'll try and share a link in the group so people can explore it. But it was really quite immersive, and there was some storytelling incorporated into it. So I think that was a great example, which I'll drop into the chat so people can take a look. But of course, that's a big investment of time and money into something like that. And then I think some of the other virtual events that have really resonated with me have always had great speakers. And that's one of the things that you can really do to enhance your digital events. So I attended one where Trevor Noah was speaking, that our team actually put together for a company called Acorio. And then there's a great company called Song Division as well. So I've been to a few virtual events that have been hosted by that team, and they bring a real energy to the live shows. So they're always a great addition. And also, it's one of the things that we've touched upon that we should probably dig into a bit further is, you know, the session designs. And you know, there's so much content out there right now. There's so many virtual events. So positioning is key, and trying to make your content more engaging. So perhaps creating sessions around quite polarizing subjects and then having two panelists with quite contrasting opinions. do something which is going to hook people, engage people, stand out, be different, because you have to do something to cut through the static. So yeah, there's just some, the ones that I've enjoyed the most of, there's been a hook essentially.
I think it comes back to the skill set as well that we talked about before, massively with it, how it all changes. Martin, I'm going to ask you the same question on the flip side. Have you been to any that you love?
Love is a strange word to use, I suppose, but there certainly have been some really positive examples. I mean, Visit Britain's Meet GB is so far the only real example I've seen of an exhibition that works in an online sort of environment. It was very, quirky and something I hadn't really seen before. You can Google it and check it out yourselves. But the other one I was involved with, I was a panelist, was actually an event put on by the National Sales Conference. And the organisers there are really switched on, and they pride themselves on their quality of speaker. So following on from what Josh just said is absolutely right. The quality of speaker absolutely matters. And the guys at the National Sales Conference, they get some really big names. It's quite impressive, and they really take you through it. So you do have a thorough rehearsal the day before. It was a new platform I hadn't used, but it didn't matter because it was all done for me. So I didn't have any of that. Oh, what link do I click? And what's this one? Because there's no consistency across it. It's all taken care of. And it was really, really, really smoothly done. But they made it as part of a series. So you're kind of keeping that engagement going. So, historically, we've always talked about, return on investment, ROI. Let's think more about return on engagement, especially in this, online presence. Organisers have now the opportunity to really kind of take a message and keep it out there, extend the longevity of it. And that's where I think, the successors, the successful organisers are winning.
Brilliant, thank you, Martin. We're going to come to the last question now before we go to our our sponsors, and also we'll come back to the Q&A because I've got a couple of questions, and actually I've got a few more that I've just written down that maybe we could come to at the end. So lastly, we'll go around the panelists. Nikki, I'll come to you first. What are your 3 top tips that you would give to anyone planning a virtual event?
I mean, there are lots, obviously. I think research is really, really important. Obviously, Josh mentioned it, and Martin both, when they're talking about the great takeaways from, successful virtual events and online events, doing your research, making sure that you are working on the right platform with the right people, and you're delivering the right virtual event for your clients, your customers, whether that's, in a corporate capacity or not. I think that would be one big thing from our point of view. Also, I think there's a big question around why are you hosting this event? We've had this conversation with several clients who obviously, as I said, we book their venues. That's our primary function. And when we're talking about what their plans are for 2021, we're saying to them, why are you hosting? What are the main reasons? And from that, what are you therefore trying to achieve? And then we can then discuss whether or not we book a venue for you, or we help you with, of hosting a virtual event, or looking for a hybrid solution. So that would be another one. And thirdly, I think would be to collaborate and to be open to collaboration. We've had to massively diversify our business over the last 7 months. And one of the main things which we have really benefited from is this fantastic industry that we work in. Hundreds of thousands of professionals with different levels of experience who are being successful in different ways. So being open to collaboration, discussing with other, event professionals and people who are hosting virtually, whether they're experts in, AV and production, or experts in team building, sharing our skill sets to make sure that that final event is really worth doing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikki. Josh, I'll come to you next. Have you got any tips that you'd like to add?
Yeah, of course. So first one, quick and easy, digital first mindset whenever approaching virtual or hybrid. So don't try and directly replicate your live event in a virtual setting. It doesn't work. Then when actually producing the event, I like to follow 7 Ps of virtual event delivery. So first of all, purpose. Why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve? What are the KPIs? Positioning. So what differentiates our virtual event from others? How are we going to hook people in? people. So who is actually going to deliver this virtual experience? Don't underestimate how many people it takes to deliver a great virtual event. The platform, of course, it's people ask what's the best virtual platform out there. It's like asking what the best venue is, right? It's totally depends on your brief, your goals, your objectives. Promotion. So again, there's so many events out there. Focus heavily on your pre and post event promotion. Performance. So view your virtual digital event as a performance. Rehearsals are going to be key, as well as your show callers, your vision mixers that are used to orchestrating big shows. And then again, the post event engagement cycle. So viewing the analytics, the data, delving into that, because that way you can actually evolve and enhance your future virtual events and make some strategically driven decisions based on the data. And then the final tip would be invest in virtual speaker coaches and speaker management for your big events. We work with some speakers who are tremendous at speaking in a live setting who aren't so great in a virtual setting because you haven't got that feedback. And also to enhance the production value, you can send out things like webcams, ring lights, microphones, just to really enhance the production value when your speakers are speaking at home. And of course, when we get to hybrid, it's quite nice to have the speakers stood up, take multiple camera angles, so it becomes more like a television production. So there's quite a few tips there, but it's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. There's lots of food for thought there. I don't know if there's anything that Martin, did you want to have anything on there?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, those are some absolutely fantastic tips, both from Nikki and Josh. Absolutely. I guess I'd only kind of maybe evolve those points slightly. What is the business of your client? That is the key to all of this. Work backwards from that. Not event objective. What is the business objective of the client? Is an event therefore the best way to achieve that objective? How is that event then best put on? Is it live? Is it online only? Is it through some manner of hybrid means? You have to establish the business objective, and then you can obviously try to build an event that would hopefully meet that. Don't necessarily just think an event is the way to achieve that objective. So start with what the client actually wants to achieve, work back from there. And then, I just then quickly add in that I cannot overstate the importance of having like proper quality delivery if you are going online. Don't think you can just get away with this on the cheap. Your audience does not want to be insulted. They will absorb you if you have spent a bit of money on it. You have to have the proper quality. Hybrid event, the word hybrid will soon be dropped and it will just be event. Like, we don't call this a mobile telephone anymore. It's just a phone, as just the same as you'd have downstairs in the hallway. And the same things will happen with events. TV studio quality is going to be expected. Okay, when big brands do come back and they're telling you they want a hybrid event or a digital event, then really what they're telling you really is they want a TV show. All right, and that is really important to deliver that. Don't think you can just get away with it on the cheap. And of course, that then undersells our entire industry anyway. And I think the last thing, a bit of advice I would do is offer is enjoy it. This is what our industry is. Enjoy it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you to all of you guys. I mean, there's some great tips there. I know we've got a couple of comments for Josh to share some information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send out all of the details of the panelists, if they're okay with that, after to our audience. And then if they've got any questions, they can come back to you direct, and then we can go from there. So before we continue with our Q&A, I just want to bring on our sponsors quickly. So I'm just going to get the panelists to mute, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so... Sorry, give me just 2 seconds. I've done this before, so I'm just I have to press the sound for the videos. You say about good delivery. Sorry, I failed again not pressing that button. So I think we got it now. Right, so I'm going to come on first. Firstly, we have a short video from First Events. So we're going to come to that first of all.
Hi, I'm Jake.
And I'm Charlie.
And we are delighted to be here at PA Live today, talking to you live from our virtual event studio in Leeds about the many options we can provide to host your very own online awesome event.
That's right. There's lots of ways you can reach our delegates, employees, or even customers from the safety of your own home thanks to virtual events.
Whether it's for 10 people to 10,000 people, done right, a virtual event can achieve the same goals as a physical one, and in some cases, even more.
Yes, your conference can still have all the elements it had before: multiple speaker sessions, panel discussions, breakouts, activities, and even a virtual gala dinner if you fancy it. The added benefits of being more eco-friendly with better data and insights to ensure you hit all your event objectives.
But most importantly, you can be rest assured that they're completely safe to attend, future-proofed from any further event restrictions.
That's right, plus they can also be pretty fun too.
Yes, you can use them for team building, reward, recognition and celebrations. We can provide a range of options for fun activities such as cocktail making, masterclasses, your very own Great British Bake Off, a virtual awards evening and many more amazing options.
Yeah, last week I went on a safari in my slippers.
Right, okay. Jokes aside, you can still have your very own even Christmas party.
Yes, that's right. No worrying about who'll get too drunk. You can sit back, relax and let us do the hard work. With a celebrity-hosted live-streamed event featuring games and entertainment, while your colleagues tuck into the goodies from their personalised Christmas party box.
Nice, okay. Basically, whatever you need from your event, we can create and host it. We'll be there every single step of the way to make sure it's perfectly delivered and completely bespoke to you.
But don't take our word for it. We're throwing a free online event on the 14th of October at 4 p.m. that showcases the kind of things you could have for your virtual event. Plus, of course, because it's us, we have a guest appearance from Ollie Ollerton, plus games to be played and prizes to be won.
And obviously, we'd love you all to be there, so please to come along and join the couple more celebrities that we're going to be revealing next week. So register now for free. The website is on the screen.
So that's all from us. We'll see you there, and we hope you enjoy the rest of PA Live Live.
Brilliant. Okay, that was our first video.
Hi, I'm Jay.
There we go. We're now going to come to clear-cut venues. Have we upgraded Amy?
Yeah.
Hi, Amy.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
We can just see a blank screen.
Can you see the slide now?
We can see the slide, yeah. So I just want to say it's an absolutely brilliant session, and Nikki, Martin and Josh just hit the nail on the head. And oh, there we go. I can start my video now. Sorry about this.
Are you on? Brilliant. Yes, so we're going to have Clear Cut Venues. It's a boutique venue finding agency based in Kent that are looking after clients all over the UK. So Amy, it's all over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We've not done a live pitch like this before on virtual, so this is a new experience for us. And we wanted to be here today because we understand that the role of a PA and executive assistant is a stressful one. We understand that your role as a problem solver, a gatekeeper, an important person in the organisation. So, and then we know that you are dropped certain tasks on a desk with regards to finding venues, and hopefully that's where we can help you. So who are we? So my name's Amy, and then we have
Iona,
yeah, and Clearcut has been going since 2017. I am ex-hotel, so I had 10 years with Hilton, and then decided to take the plunge and start my own agency. So we do offer a free venue finding solution for our clients, and this can range from a small board meeting up to a large residential and everything in between. And thankfully this week we've actually picked up some small meetings, so we're very excited. So it's good, even though they're small, it's good to know that there is a certain amount of confidence coming back. So yeah, really excited about that. Also, what we do is we dedicate a lot of time going to new venues and building relationships with our clients. I was going to say onto the next slide. So as you can see here, this is our venue finding process, but just to simplify what we do, we just take our client's brief, and it's important that we get to know the client, what they want to achieve out of the meeting, and then we go out to all our suppliers. Once we have all the briefs back, we put this onto a presentation and we present this to our clients. We can arrange site visits, we can go to extra venues if you want to, and then obviously the negotiation, which is the best part. But our work isn't done at this point, of course, so we fully support our clients all the way through, from sourcing the venue to actually hosting the venue on the day, if that needs to be done. We can't wait to do that. So it's been a long year. And on to the last slide. There's only 3 slides from us. So this obviously this is us. So we're on all social media. Just go by Clear Cut Venues. And just to go on to our achievements, so we've recently become accredited for the Safer Event Organiser, which obviously highlights and understands how we can hold an event in a post and obviously during the pandemic. We're also members of the AIEA, which is the Alliance of Independent Venue Finders, and this is a valuable source for us where we share best practices and also get contacts and other venue finders. We do work very closely together, which is great. But just to roll up our short pitch, we have approximately 35 clients. We book around about 150 events per year, but of course this year it's
Not gone that way.
It's not gone that way as it is to everyone. But some of our clients have actually stayed with us from the very beginning, so we do take pride in the relationships that we have with our clients, and we do have recommendations from other clients. But I just want to end by saying, Martin, I've seen more of you than I have my own family, and thank you for fighting for the events industry. So thank you so much. I don't know if that's more than 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes, but I don't know if you want to add anything.
It's slightly over. It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, it's not a problem at all. Thank you so much, ladies. We're going to come on next. We have a video again, which is from...
Hi, I'm Nikki, event director and founder of our independent eco venue, Woodhaven Space. We're located in Woking in Surrey, just 24 minutes on a fast train from London Waterloo, and we have on-property parking for around 15 vehicles. What we do is completely unique. We offer all the ground and subterranean levels for exclusive use just for one team for the day. Now, frequently that's an inspiring team strategy session, it could be a high-performance leadership workshop, or it could be a yoga and wellbeing retreat day or a shoot. On the ground floor, we've got a beautiful garden, freshwater pool and spa, and 3 other breakout zones. All our food is prepared freshly from scratch here on site, so we nurture you inside and out. Pre-COVID, obviously we could do greater numbers, but we still offer the same service. So up to 30 for a business meeting, 15 for a wedding, 30 for a funeral or celebration of life. But what we've also been offering completely different are virtual conferences and hybrid conferences. These are perfect here because you get all the studio suites to yourself. We've had the British Association of Critical Care Nurses here for their conference that would normally be delivered in person to 450 nurses. Instead, it went virtual. They had a fantastic experience. We have fibre optic broadband with 2 different providers, so one backs up the other. This is critical when you're doing a virtual conference to make sure you've got top fibre optic broadband, so it's brilliant. And we've had fantastic groups using our space in the last few months. We're on the doorstep of Horsell Common, a SSSI site of nearly 1,000 acres of beautiful heathland. Quite often groups will head down there for a walk at lunchtime or just at the end of their day. COVID secure for us means keeping you safe. If you're safe, you thrive, you enjoy what you do. So whether it's sanitizer on every table, washing your hands as you come in with the temperature checks, and scanning our COVID-19 barcode. It's really important to keep everyone safe at this time, but you need to be able to feel creative. And there's no better way to be creative when you've got all these different rooms and spaces all bespoke for you for the day. We do keep you safe, but the point is you're face to face. You're getting back to normality with your team. So even if you're not back at the office yet, Step away from Zoom for a day and come and be looked after. Whether you're strategizing, team building, or training your team. Come and see us, come and see what we do. We'd love to look after you.
Lovely. Brilliant. And then we've just got one more live pitch. This is from Rosa Stone.
Hi, I'm Nikki, event director and founder of our...
There we go. Right. Good old technology. Please, can we go back live now? So lastly, we've got Rosa Stone, who's the marketing and business coordinator from Friends Meeting House Manchester, a unique conference centre in central Manchester owned by the Quakers. Are we on, Rosa?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Rosa. I'm going to mute and I'm going to pass straight over to you, okay? Let me know when you want to move the slides.
Okay, will do.
No worries, thank you.
Hello, thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're the Quakers. We've had this site since the 1700s. So as well as a lot of history, we also provide a community hub for action towards social and economic justice and peace building. We offer BOAS, night shelter, asylum seekers, and we're home to many support groups as well, all of which are possible through subsidies that we raise from our daytime meeting and events. In terms of what we offer, you can go to the next slide now. In terms of what we offer, pre-physical distancing, the main hall holds up to 300. With physical distancing, we can offer space for up to 50 people once local restrictions allow us. And apart from the historic main hall, we have 10 additional rooms set over 2 floors, all very bright and airy with integrated technology in them. And I think one of the main reasons I love working here is because of the people. We're really down to earth bunch, and so far delegates have given us over the last 2 years 97% average satisfaction rate, so that's good. And then onto the third slide. Since 2018, we've surveyed the top reasons my clients choose us, and they are in this order: location number 1, price number 2, and shared values. So we're central to all the main train stations in Manchester, and then alongside a tram stop, which is just short of a minute's walk from our front door. And our commitment to equality means our prices don't fluctuate seasonally, and we offer our fairest price first. And Manchester is a little bit cheaper than London, so we get many national organisations coming to us. Shared values means the business is shaped by commitment to equality, integrity, sustainability and peace. Hence why we have the Silver Green Tourism Award, and we're part of the Living Wage and Accreditation Scheme. And in terms of being COVID secure, we've recently had the AIM Business of Excellence and Visit Britain We're Good to Go accreditation. So when you're ready, we're basically ready for your event.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rosa. And thank you to all of our sponsors. For the audience, I will be sending out details of the sponsors after, so you'll get that, and also the panellists. Okay, right, I'm going to come back to our panellists now and have a little quick check in the Q&A box. Right. Oh, loads have come in. Brilliant. So Josh has answered a couple already. Thank you, Josh. You're making my life so much easier. Sarah's put here, going online has meant that she's actually been able to attend more events than if she had to incorporate travel time or an overnight stay. But she does agree there are good and less good online events. She said this is a good one, so thank you so much, Sarah. Josh has shared his 7 Ps. And we are showing the videos. Okay, so sorry, I thought there was more in that. I've got a question for you guys. What tips would you give people to coming back to live events, like for an events company or for putting on a conference from a PA's perspective, they're going to put on a team building event or something like that? How could they convince their staff to go back live?
I don't mind getting the ball rolling on that. I think that it does come down to confidence. I think the Chancellor Rishi Sunak last week hit the nail on the head when he signed off on his kind of announcements of extra support packages by saying that we've got to learn to live with this. And, you know, I'm not a virologist, can't even say it, or an expert of any medical profession at all. But what I do know is that a vaccine to this virus is not a cure. All right, there's no magic cure. The vaccine will just be a preventative measure to keep people, to stop people being so badly impacted by this. This virus is now in circulation. We are going to need to learn to live with it. So you can't stay inside forever. We are going to get to a point next year when we're going back live, even if we still have to wear masks more consistently, fine. But what's funny is, things like hand sanitizer stations and the little hand gels that we carry around. I think they're probably around forever now. Think how many other little bugs and common colds you might not pick up because we're so much cleaner. Let's ignore the fact that before this happened, it turned out half the British public didn't know how to wash its hands properly in the first place. But we're actually probably going to be more hygienic. So as long as we can, push on with, general cleanliness and hygiene, people are going to come back.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to come to Nikki next.
I think Martin's absolutely right. I think it's about instilling that confidence, and the industry has let us know, the venues are ready. They're ready for us. The organisers are ready. Our clients, whether that's PAs, EAs, event organisers, who from our point of view, who we book the venues for, they're ready. It's talking about the wider audience, and as Martin said, earlier, this is our new normal now. So hybrid events, we will lose hybrid, and it will just become events. And it's whether or not there is the option to log on remotely to be part of that event, or whether or not you can join, live in person. It's a bit of a strange one, but I really do think at the moment, one of the things which I find really refreshing is this idea of collaboration. The amount of calls I've had in the last, month alone with different professionals from across the industry talking about what they're doing, what's worked, what hasn't worked, almost sharing those ideas. It's a really collaborative industry. Nobody's in this alone. We're all finding our feet. And I would, recommend that as one of the things, to instill confidence to an audience coming to an event, is about making sure you have spoken to people within the industry and shared those ideas, spoken to the experts and said, listen, we don't know what platform to use. We're not quite sure. This is what we want to achieve. How do we do it? So I think there's a big thing about talking and listening in the industry at the moment.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikki. I mean, following on from that, Josh, there's so many platforms out there at the moment, isn't there? What's your best tips to sort of navigate through that?
So one of the things that we've been doing is offering free virtual and hybrid event consultations to actually recommend the best platforms to people, and that's a free service just because it is a bit of a minefield. And don't forget, with the emergence of hybrids, what have been the best virtual event platforms aren't necessarily going to be the best hybrid event platforms. And unless you're speaking to the people that are really immersed in the tech side of event delivery, it can be very, very tricky. So again, I'll drop the link in, but speak to the experts as Nikki talks about, because it is like asking what the best venue is, and it's totally dependent on your goals and your objectives. But the good thing is, I think that some of the platforms are starting to catch up. We're incredibly creative and they're starting to get there. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic in terms of seeing where the platforms are going to be, and let's try and be more innovative. Martin touched on sort of the senses, and that's one of the big things missing. And I think that's what, as planners, we need to be trying to tie more to these virtual events, sending stuff out pre-event, making it more immersive and engaging. Because at the moment, the majority of things you go on are just, it's so repetitive, unless it's like this where you're delivering great content, and then it's then it works perfectly.
Speaking. No worries. Right. No more questions. Is there anything else anyone wanted to add just quickly before we go? Do you guys, are we all okay?
No, thanks for having us.
Brilliant. Right, so that's it. I'll share your details with the audience. Thank you so much for coming on, Martin, Josh, and Nikki. Thank you. Great panel debate there. Brilliant.
Thank
you so much.
Thanks very much. Great talking to you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.